Hello, and welcome to the course Culture and Food, which is a psychology special topics course. My name is Sean Duffy. I'm a professor at Rutgers in Camden, and I'll be your instructor for this course. Just as a way to introduce myself, that's me on the left there. I've been a cognitive psychologist for a number of years, but in recent years I've become very interested in looking at food because it's one of the things that defines us as members of groups, that makes us have joy in our life, that is something that we all can share as being an important part of our lives. So even though it looks like Gritty there is going to eat me, I somehow survived that. So, by way of introduction, I just wanted to let you know some of the basic topics that we're going to be talking about. So, here's the abstract for the course. It's often said that we are what we eat, but what we eat depends to a large extent on the cultural matrix in which our lives are embedded. So, this multidisciplinary course will examine factors that shape how people produce and consume food. Topics to be discussed include ethnic identity and cultural cuisine, the development of taste and memory, the globalization of food and its implication on culinary diversity, evolutionary and developmental origins of disgust, delight, and other food induced emotional associations, and some other topics. We will, as part of the final project, create and sample cuisines from different cultures to better understand the cultural variability in food preferences across the world. Now, I have to say that I've only taught this course as an in class course in the past, and so that's one difference that's going to be making this a different experience, but we'll see how that works out. So, some of the goals of this course are to understand the myriad ways in which food and culture interact in order to fulfill a variety of social processes, including group dynamics and historical continuity, to examine how the production and consumption of food plays a role in shaping self and identity, to gain insight into how certain nutrients such as salt or the spice trade altered the course of human culture, to explore the food of one's own culture and those of others, to experience food and share those experiences, and to appreciate learning about the cuisine of other cultures, to improve general writing and critical thinking skills through online discussions and interactions, and finally, to read interdisciplinary materials from a variety of fields such as literature, sociology, psychology, anthropology, biology, and history. So, in order to gain a true inter and multidisciplinary understanding of the meaning of culture and food. So, although this is a course which is situated in the psychology department, a lot of what we're going to be talking about goes beyond psychology, and we're going to be dealing with things such as anthropology, history. We'll be learning about the history of humanity. So, really, it's kind of a grab bag of a lot of things, but I think that you will find this to be pretty interesting. At least for me, putting together all the topics has been a lot of fun. So, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Requirements. Well, there are going to be readings and required videos. Um, I have it so that it's maybe between for every 3 days, about 50 to 70 pages of reading, which is a lot, but it's not too much. Remember that this is supposed to be like a full length, semester long course. So I do need to require you to do a little bit more than, for you to challenge yourself. So just get used to that idea early on, is that this is going to be a little bit of work. The required videos are about maybe 90 minutes. And they vary from documentaries to short talks that people have given. So it varies a little bit, but I think that you'll find them all to be pretty interesting. So there's also for each unit, there's 7 units, and you can see on the front page of the course on Sakai what the breakdown is in terms of what days certain things are due. But there are going to be 7 units, and the quizzes are going to be 3 short essay questions in which you respond to readings and the videos. But a lot of them require you to relate readings to your personal experiences. What I'm really trying to see here with these quizzes is that you demonstrate proficiency in actually having read the material and watched the videos. So I really am hoping for you to make reference to those in these quizzes. I was going to do multiple choice, but I kind of decided that multiple choice is pretty boring, both for you to study for and for me to put together, and so I'd rather see you do some critical thinking and writing. Um, and then on top of the 7 quizzes, there's going to be 7 discussion questions. Now, what these are you're going to go to the forum, which is on the left-hand side of the page of Sakai, and what you're basically going to do is to write maybe a reaction to the readings and the video of the week. It can be whatever part that interests you. You don't need to integrate every single reading or every single video, but if there is something that is sort of a nagging question that you'd like to see discussed among the group, what you can do is go into the discussion question, the forums, and post your discussion question. And what you'll do is, after you post your own discussion question, you'll go in and respond to 3 discussion questions of your peers. So it's almost like an internet chat room kind of thing, where you would respond to, or Reddit, or whatever those kinds of things are that you use. Pretty straightforward. But I want you to respond to 3 people's discussion question. It doesn't need to be a long response. It just needs to be a couple of sentences where you address the question that the other person asked. And finally, for the class, is going to be a final exam project, which is going to be a essay projects. I realize right here it says 2 longer essay projects, but substitute that for just 1 longer essay project. You're not going to need to do 2. And the proposed topics that I have are as follows. I'll get to that in a second. I just want to respond to this thing that, that's a lot of reading and writing. Just remind yourself this is a 400 level course, and also that life requires a lot of reading and writing. It's good practice in courses like this to get experience reading efficiently and writing efficiently. And that's really an art that is really worth learning. Because sometimes, reading every word carefully, you'll get a lot from doing that. But sometimes you need to read efficiently and read quickly. And I think that's something that you need to kind of learn how to do. Will I weigh grammar and spelling? Yes. Make sure that in this day and age with Microsoft Word that checks spelling and everything, you really shouldn't be making spelling or grammar errors. I'll be a bit lenient. It's a winter course after all, but I am going to take into account that, misspelled words and poorly grammatical sentences represent a lack of care or attention paid to your writing, and, it just is demonstrating how much effort you put into your writing is, and you should always, no matter what you do in life, when you do it, you should always be doing grammar and spelling correctly. It is just a way that people can sense your sloppy thinking is that you have sloppy writing. Now, you can read ahead if you need be. I mean, imagine that you know that you're going to be gone for a couple of days and you want to get ahead. Feel free to get ahead, but don't get behind. Okay, the term goes faster than a shooting star, so before you know it, you're going to be 2 lesson plans behind, and it's going to be really hard to catch up. So I just want to let you know that, getting behind is really not an option. And also, the reason why I didn't want to do multiple choice quizzes, who likes them? You have greater freedom in your answers that are in essay form, so that you can really write about what interests you. And again, accustom yourself to writing. It's going to be a skill that you'll use in any job all the time. So again, going back to the final project, what I want you to do is to complete one of the following project ideas. Again, on the former slide I said 2, but I really only want you to do 1. And what I want this to be is maybe 5 pages with some references to psychological or historical literature. So how many really is up to you, which is at least 3, but, as many as you think necessary. And what you're going to do is there's a forum topic called Final Forum. And so what you're going to do is to upload this essay as a document or a PDF and whatever supplementary material that you might have. Because when I tell you about the projects, you'll see what I mean. So if you're going to do a video or take photographs, you can upload them as that. And also to be willing to read and comment on others' posts. Again, just like the other forum topics, to respond to at least 3, and that would be a good thing. One thing I just want to say is that in the off chance you hear a cat meowing in the background, I'm doing these lectures from home, and I have this kitty cat named Rosa that likes to jump up. So here are the final exam projects that I came up with. And so here's to choose one of any of these 5. First, find a relative or a friend who is from another culture. Arrange a time to meet with them and cook a dish together. It doesn't need to be complicated. A simple dish would do. Do some research on the history of the dish, how it came to be part of that culture, and maybe interview the person that you do this with about their experience cooking and in their culture. Okay, so, and again, you can take this in a little bit of a different direction if you want. These are just sort of suggestions, so I just want to point this out. Second topic, go to a restaurant from a different culture, order a dish that you've never tried. Research this dish, examining how it came to be part of that culture, and see if you can interview the owner or the chef. Maybe you can interview someone ahead of time, or if you know them, you can ask them if they'd be willing to be interviewed. And I don't want you to burden this person with a ton of questions. So, interview them 5 or 10 minutes max on how they got to, be in this restaurant business, and make sure you tip your servers well. A third one might be because we're having one of our sessions is going to be on bread. And we have this beautiful reading about bread making. So what I want you to do is to make bread from scratch, okay, using a leavening agent such as yeast or baking soda, and document it. Write about the history of the kind of bread that you chose to make, and investigate the history of this food. Bonus points will go to those who bake something more exotic, like something like the Indian bread naan, and photographs and document what you did, and maybe provide the recipe that you followed. Okay. A fourth topic could be to go to a market of another culture, such as an Indian or an Asian market. In my neighborhood here in South Philadelphia, there are a couple of Vietnamese markets down on Washington Avenue. But I know that there are markets everywhere that you could go to of various cultures. And what I want you to do is describe it, the types of food, what you see and smell. Maybe buy a food item, something less than $10. Maybe something exotic like a durian or a jackfruit. Maybe describe it, how it tastes, and write about the history of this item. And make sure to try something substantive and something unusual, not Japanese candy or something like that. You can find Japanese candy anywhere. But I want you to try something unique that you've never had before. And finally, as a 5th possible project, propose your own. It has to be something experiential, that you have to do something that goes beyond writing, like, use the other essays that I came up with as models. And it has to involve food and some writing. And it also can't be part of a project that you did for another class. I'm going to trust you on the honor system for this, but I trust that you'll be willing to do that for me. So, and just going back to this one comment, my regret is that when I've taught this class in the past, that, we do this in class and we have people bring in food, and we really can't do that so easily here because it's over the internet. But I really do hope that you share recipes, talk about the food from your culture, and talk about your culture. Make it as engaging as you can possibly do. And, hopefully your final project with the documents that you come up with, it might be something that's interesting to everyone and might be inspiring enough to get people to go out and try the food from whatever culture you discussed. So, good luck. Of course, feel free to contact me. My email address is there. You can text me at that number, and if you want to talk over the phone, text me first and say, hey, can we have a conversation? Because I usually don't answer, unusual phone numbers. So, but if I get a text from you saying, hey, I'm in your class, could we set up a time to call? I'd be happy to do that. Okay? So that's the introduction to the class, and let's get started.